Yo, what's up guys? It's Volka and I'm here with a new build today. So this is a hammer throw build for Paladin, and instead of using spirals, like we usually see, we're using Nova and going crit. So as you can see from the gameplay here, it's a really fast build. Um, it's a really easy play style, beginner friendly, and a good league starter. I actually started this patch with this build. I got to empowered in 7 hours, so the leveling is really fast, early game is really fast, and it's very good in end game. It can do all content, all the tier 4 bosses, and go really high in corruption. It can do high arena, and actually I have another video where I go almost 800 waves, and it's just like that's last patch, but you can go way higher. You can go 1k waves and more if you want. And it's just a really good like a monolith farmer. You can basically AFK farm, and decently tanky, especially with the end game setup. If you can get the gear and even just with like a normal shield setup, it's decently tanky. And to test the arena echo, how it looks like. So basically you just stay in the middle, right? And you hold down your hammer throw, and that's all you have to do. So you don't even have to see the enemies. Yeah, this basically you can just like watch Netflix and play this build. It's really like cozy monolith farmer for sure. And this off-screen ability is really good if you want to go high arena and you like die. The easy waves go by really fast because you can just stay in the middle. And yeah, as you can see, this is 500 corruption. Has a ton of like bad modifiers, you know, endurance, increased health, a bunch of damage. Yeah, stuff just dies pretty fast, no problem. Of course, there's some modifiers like crit avoidance, dodge, stuff like that. You don't want to take those, and those kind of like make the build feel really bad. But that's just corruption, usual stuff. And yeah, so let's take a look at the skills and passives and gear and all that stuff next. So for the skills here, starting with hammer throw. While leveling, we want to get the spiral first for the big damage, and then get one node here for extra projectiles. You want to just get one first before you have the throwing minus mana affix on ring, so you don't run out of mana. And then get this Nova node here, just for the flat fish, basically more damage. And then you want to max out the double damage nodes here. It's a lot of damage, so just for free basically. And after that you should be at monolith already, normal mono. So you wanna put 3 points here, and then when you get 2 more points, you wanna save them until you have those 2 points, and you put them here and here at the same time. So then you're transferring from spiral to Nova. And you want to do this after killing Abomination, basically. So you want to use Spiral for Abomination. And then you want to have 3 points here. And 1 point here, basically. And you can max this out when you have the +2 hammer throw on your relic. Okay, so then we have Shield Rush. And basically this is just for mapping, of course. So I go 6 points here for less mana cost, and 2 points here for damage reduction. So for bosses you wanna use Rebuke. So for Rebuke I'm gonna have this on the planner, but so you go for these points, get all these. This is just 2 points here. All these armor minus elemental damage taken, and you wanna have the buffs on you, so you get attack speed, move speed, cast speed. Well, cast speed doesn't matter, but you get attack speed after using Rebuke, and this makes it so the buffs last for longer. And then you just have 2 points here for more duration of Rebuke, so you have a longer time to use it. Okay, and for Holy Aura, so you can go two ways. You can either go when you're leveling, you can go max here for the elemental res, but you can also start with this, go 2 points here for fist damage, and then 2 points here, and then max out the attack speed nodes. So you get haste here also, so you get more DPS for leveling. But it's up to you. Basically, you wanna max all these nodes out. And if you feel like you need poison res, you can take these 3 points out here and put 2 here, 1 here, so you get 20 poison res if you can't cap the poison res with your gear. Okay, and then for volatile reversal, so this is basically a movement skill, and at the same time it's a huge buff to our damage. So you wanna get these 2 void drift nodes. So you have a void drift, basically two void drifts happening, and then 3 points here. This is just more area for the void drifts, and then this is the big one you want. So this is 30% increased damage taken. So basically 30% more damage. So that's a big one. You want that, and keep in mind you wanna actually hit with the void drifts, so the buff activates. And then you wanna have this cooldown nodes. So 2 points here. That's a bit of cooldown, but the main thing is this one, 300% cooldown recovery speed. And you don't care about the mana stuff, so this is huge. And then the last points, you can start with just 1 point here, max the attack speed. This is pretty big buff for 2 seconds, and then the move speed, a lot of move speed after using rebuke also. Volatile reversal. And then you can max it out for just to get a really low cooldown. It's nice. Now it has it works for bosses as well. So it when you hit the boss, it recovers a portion of your cooldown. And if you like it, there's this node also. So you can make the like the reversal time longer by 2 seconds at if you have 2 points here. So if you like it, you can use it. I just use the base duration because I'm like used to it, and when you're actually using the skill, right, you wanna use it mostly for damage. So if you go back too far, you have to wait until your location is closer to enemies, so that you don't have to walk back. So I like the base duration of just 2 seconds. And then Sigils of Hope. So here you wanna go 4 points here first. Just to get this chance to summon and kill node. This is a really good node to have. You always want to have it with sigils. And then I go 2 points here. The endurance threshold is good, but you don't need 5 points here early. So you go 2 points here, and then at least 4 points here to get the max sigil +1. And then what I want to do, usually I go max points here. Most people just go 4, but I like the +2 seconds, and then get these flat fire nodes. So you have a 3 + 3 per sigil, so 6 fire damage per sigil. So if you have 4 sigils, it's 24 flat fire. It's a decent DPS upgrade also. And then the last point is just like a throwaway point here for more health regen. It doesn't really matter, but it's there. Then for passives, I'm gonna go through these pretty fast. The progression is gonna be available in the planners, so I'm not gonna talk about like what to go first and stuff. But so these points are just insane. You wanna have these strength points and free rest basically, and vitality. 1 point here for the block chance, and then these every sentinel build takes these, so you get damage reduction against nearby enemies, and this is just 3 points to get to the big attack speed node. So you always want to have this on sentinel pretty much. And then the forge guard points. This is always gonna be the baseline of this build. You always have these points on this build. So 10 points here, 1 point here for the block chance again, just 1 point here as a travel point, and 2 points on the shred stuff. I go 2 points. You can go 1 point if you want, but I go 2 points, so I don't have to stack the shred so much. If I'm doing like arena stuff, I have higher, more reliable shred stacks, and this is just 1 point on this health node to get to the to this one. So this is the big node. Plus 16 flat fizz with a shield and 400 block effect. So that's a really good node for this build. And then for Paladin, you start with this one. This is one of the best nodes you can take. So max points here, 1 point here for the block chance again, and you always want to have max points here. So that's a lot of health. And then this can go either here if you need the necrotic resistance, if you can't cap it with your ivory ring. So, but now I have overcap, so I just put it here, basically in preparation for Face of the Mountain. But if you don't need the endurance, just have the points here. You get a bit more health also. So for what I'm using right now, I actually have way overcapped crit avoidance, so I have points here, but usually you wanna have them here in this crit avoidance node. So you get usually 7 points here if you can. Basically, the crit avoidance blessing rolls up to 70, so you can get away with 30% here, but that's max rolled blessing, so it's pretty hard to get. So usually at least 7 points here to get the crit avoidance cap. And then 1 point on this block chance. This is a really big node. You want to always have this. So get block chance and health gain and block. And then the crit node. I always keep this maxed out. So 200% throwing crit chance. You don't get the crit multi benefit, but the crit chance is huge. And then you want to put as many points here as you can, basically, on this last health node. But it depends what you do with the Void Knight nodes here. So you can also go like, I'm going 10 points on this health and Void Res Fizz Res node just to get the res, basically. But what you can do is just 5 points here to get the Volatile Reversal, and you can put the rest of the points, for example, in this one. But it's up to you. If you can cap the res without this, basically you have 3 points. But I like to cap the res from the passive tree, so I don't have to get it on my gear. And then the last point is on this crit multi node on Void Knight, so you get 11% crit multi for 1 point. So it's a decent node. So then for the most important part of this guide, the gear, blessings and idols. So let's start with the weapon here. So we wanna always use Eagle Wing on this build. So basically no other weapon is suitable, because you wanna have the base crit, and it has to be an axe. So you get the benefit from this attack speed node. This only with a sword or axe. So, and this is the only sword or axe that has base crit. So you want the Eagle Wing, and then it has to have a crit multi and increased crit chance. My axe is actually missing the slow, so you wanna have a chill and then a sealed slow and a max tier 5 shred armor shred. So that's the weapon. And then for the rings, this is also, rings give you a lot of DPS on this build. So ideally you want to have attack speed on both of them, and you can either go strength or the flat throwing affix for the prefix. So always attack speed and either strength or throwing damage. And of course something like increased fizz also works, but strength is better. You get armor as well. And then for the suffixes, it kind of depends on the rest of your gear. So it's always good to have health, but usually you need poison res. So you basically need poison res on 2 pieces of gear. So if you go 2 tier 5 poison res affixes, that caps you out without Holy Aura. So that's always, you can go like 2 poison res on rings, or 1 poison res on ring and another on your relic. And if you wanna use the Face of the Mountain version, you have the shield ready, so endurance is fine to have instead of health also, but health is always good basically, and block chance is also fine here. You get a I wouldn't go for more than just 1 block affix, because the block effect is gonna get basically like soft capped because of the curve. So yeah. And then if you can seal the void res, for example. So basically I'm capping my void res with just the passive 3 and this 11% void res, even though I have overcapped void res a bit, but yeah, so basically this ring is enough to cap my void res. And if you can also seal a crit chance, for example. This is tier 1 crit chance sealed, basically kind of like free crit chance. You can also seal like a tier 2 block chance. You get 2% block chance with that. And then let's take a look at the relic. This is a really important item for this build. So the base has to be Argent Crest because of the resistance. So gold and lightning resistance, right? So you get kind of like a free capped golden lightning. And then you want to have the throwing damage, flat throwing, and +2 hammer throw. +2 is fine. You don't really need like +3 or 4. There's not really any good points you could take the hammer throw 3. You could go if you have more than +2. You can go for this, for example, or this just a bit more damage and stun chance. This is also fine. You get crit chance, increase damage. But ideally you would have the flat throwing would be exalted. And then you can either have the poison res here or a ring, like I said, and you want to have frailty always. And if you are using the Face of the Mountain version, the endgame version, endurance is always good, health is always good as well. So yeah, it depends. Basically the poison res kind of like determines your gearing, where you have it. And you always definitely want to have capped poison, because it's poison is like insanely strong now, so it's a very dangerous. So for the gloves, this is once again a huge DPS slot for this build. So right now I'm using this is a really kind of bad gloves actually. So I have exalted throwing damage and D5 attack speed. But you always want to have those prefixes at least, so throwing damage, attack speed. Then the suffixes should be hybrid health and shred armor. You can also go for example, endurance instead of shred armor for the Face of the Mountain version. But usually hybrid health and shred armor. And ideally, let's see if I have them here. Ideally, you want to go for these unique gloves and make them legendary, but until you have them legendary with well, you wanna hit at least a flat throwing. The attack speed is also fine, but usually like it's not a huge DPS upgrade until you have 2 LP on them and you hit the prefixes. And you can also get this with 3 LP, so I actually have them in my offline character, so you can go flat throwing and attack speed and hybrid health, for example. But yeah, it takes quite a long time to farm them and hit the craft basically. But that's like the end game item. Like you see, I missed my craft there, hit the armor. So yeah, it's pretty hard. And then for the shield, I'm not using Bastion. You can use Bastion as well, but I think now that the Bastion range is kind of low, I actually like to use just like Ironglass Shield with as much block chance as you can. So I have a 68 block chance now. But if you want, you can use Bastion. Bastion is better for bosses for sure, because you can rely on the block chance, right? It's always you always block, but it's easy to get reduced damage taken on block on this like a rare shield or exalted shield. And in the end game, if you spend enough time, you can go Face of the Mountain with 2 LP, for example. You can get the tier 7 block chance on it, and the reduced damage taken on block, and then cap your block with endurance. So that's like it makes this build really tanky, and it's really reliable tankiness. And then for the helmet, so this is so basically it's just a basic helmet. I mean, you always want to have the suffixes should always be increased health and flat health, right? And you always want to have a strength, usually on the prefix. And here I go. I got tier 1 sealed armor shed effect. So basically, what it does at around 50% increased armor shed effect. What it basically does, well, usually your armor shed is 100 minus armor per stack. So this makes it, if it's 50%, it makes it so it's 150 armor per stack. So yeah, it's really nice if you have if you don't have that much armor shed chance. So you can basically soft cap your armor shed with a lower chance. I basically always do this on this build, just seal the tier 1, and then for the last prefix you want to have the throwing crit chance at tier 5, of course. So, but you can, if you want, you can also go vitality, but I think the throwing crit chance is good to have here, and the base ideally should be the Dawn Helm base with a lot of armor, but if you like, you can also go for the crit multi-base, but it doesn't have much armor. So I like I'm just using this now because it's what I have. So yeah, and then the body armor. So here you want to have strength and vitality on the prefixes, right? So ideally you would have the increased health would be exalted, right? So, but the suffixes once again should always be increased health and flat health. The the Dawn Plate base is really insane because it gives you 550 flat armor, so that's really good. And but you can also use, for example, the Solarum Plate. It has endurance. You can use that with Face of the Mountain especially. But actually, I checked, and the Dawn Plate is still better. You can go endurance placing here with Face of the Mountain. But yeah, so the Dawn Plate and Dawn Helm bases are really good for a Sentinel now. Basically, you cap your armor with just the Dawn items. Right. So then my belt here. This is a really bad belt, but basically you should always have a double health on the suffixes. So this should be increased health and hybrid health, and preferably if you can get them exalted, that would be really good. But it's hard to get belts with exalted stuff. But yeah, then you want to have throwing damage, and yeah, like I said, my belt is really bad. You shouldn't have mana regen. It's fine. It can make you like go faster because you can use shield rush more. But ideally, you want to have increase fist damage here. So increase fist damage, throwing, and then the double health affixes. And then you seal the tier 1 cleanse, so you can cleanse ailments. It's really important to have the cleanse, especially now that the poison is so strong. So you always want to have cleanse. And then the boots, right? So this is just a basic boot. Increase movement speed, strength, hybrid health, and health. You can also go vitality instead of strength if you like, for more HP. And in the end game, you can use the mountain boots. So with potential, it's actually a requirement with the Face of the Mountain version if you want to cap your endurance, block with your endurance. So, and the funny thing is about these boots actually, because they give you all attributes, and hammer throw scales with strength and dex. So basically, what it means, you get like a damage increase from both strength and dex here. So at 12, at max all attributes, it would be what, like whatever, almost like 100% increase damage, and you get armor for strength and all that. You get vitality, so you basically get the same HP as these boots, just like this, and then you can get potential on them. So, but the movement speed is gonna be quite a bit lower, so you lose movement speed even if you have them exalted. And then the amulet. So amulet is basically you have a gear switch here. For an exalted or a rare amulet, you wanna have throwing damage. Mine amulet is not ideal quite, so this should be the base you use if you use rare or exalted. So less damage over time taken. That's the best base. Then you wanna have the throwing damage on it, and crit chance is fine. You can go crit multi, you can go fizz penetration, for example. It doesn't really matter. Just what you can get basically. And then shred armor and health usually is good. You can go frailty here too if you can't get in on this one. But yeah, and then for like high content and arena stuff, you wanna use Aurora's time class. Basically what it does is it's kind of like a cheat death passive. Basically gives you if you drop under 30% HP and it doesn't kill you, you go back to full health, gain ward and stuff. It's a really low cooldown, just 20 seconds, so that's good. But you lose quite a bit of damage from the flat throwing, and it's really hard to get this with potential. So, but for the face of the mountain version, you always want to use this because of the endurance. So yeah, and it still has attack speed, so it's some DPS as well. Yeah. And what you can do if you sometimes wanna use the damage one, you can use this one, then swap this back on for harder content. For example, I use this for bosses usually because you can just dodge the mechanics and you don't need this. You can kill the boss faster with this. And okay, so then the idols here. For the idols, you always want throwing crit on these 4 of these idols, large idols. So the suffix can be either block effect or it can be armor shred. It could be health also, but health has been it's pretty rare to get. But if you can get them, basically those are the three options for the suffixes. But the prefix should always be throwing crit. And you can kind of play around with this with the block effect, because block effect basically kind of like soft caps because of there's like a curve, kind of like with armor. So if you feel like you can't get much out of block effect anymore, you can go shred for more DPS, for example. And then for these idols, you wanna have basically all should be like this, so 5% increase health and flat health. And if you use the mountain boots, you lose the fire res here, so you wanna use one with fire res. But yeah, these give you a lot of health. Right, so then we have blessings. So basically, well, here these are just the drop rate blessings. You can go unique drop rate. I get one-handed axe here, and actually I don't have this one because you don't need it. And this just like shard drop rate. And this ring drop rate here, these don't really matter. You can just do what you want. You always want this one though. This is basically a requirement for the build, unless you use bleeding heart early. So you need the leech here. This can be pretty hard to get with the high roll, so you might have to farm for it quite a bit sometimes. But yeah, you must have this one. And then this is stun chance, basically just more defense. You can use the shock here too, but I like this like immediate stun chance instead of stacking shock. And then the crit avoidance, this is basically a requirement also, unless you're like me and you get a bad belt with tier 7 crit avoidance. So yeah, you use this, and the points from Paladin tree, you cap your crit avoidance. Easy stuff. And then this just drop rate stuff, and block effect here. This is just free block effect. Goes up to 800, so yep, GG, get that one. And then this armor is good. If you're actually like super capped with armor, you can use endurance here for the Face of the Mountain build version, and if you can't get frailty and you're capped in armor, you can get frailty here also. It's like a big chance, like 60% frailty, so that's fine. But usually you just go armor. And yeah, that should be it. So yeah, that's the build. And if you wanna see me play this build and many other builds live, I'm also streaming at twitch.tv/volka_. So yeah, see you there. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.